you. All right, everybody. Well, welcome to Modern Agent Blueprint. Nikki is not going to be on today because she has her Women Council of Realtors duties. So it's just going to be me and Brooke today, and we're going to be talking about the best hacks for managing your time and staying productive. So this is more of a mastermind style. So I'm going to be talking about things, and then if there's anything that you want to chime in or things that you've tried or you've been working on or things that you've found have been helpful, please feel free to come off of mute and chime in. We would love to have everybody participate. But again, no absolute necessity for you to be able to hop on. I would just love to have anyone's opinions on this. So we're going to start out by kind of just talking about some of the things we're going to talk about today. So we're going to talk about why time management matters, the 80-20 rule, the time, like doing time blocking, Pomodoro technique, which is one of my favorites, delegating and automating, energy management hacks, 2-minute rule, weekly planning and review, and then some accountability. So we're going to talk about all kinds of good stuff today. I wanted to, let me go here real quick. All right, let's hop in. Okay. So, I mean, I'll be the first to admit that I am pretty terrible about managing my time appropriately. I don't know how many of us get stuck in the, oh, I'm going to do some research. I need to post a reel. So then you end up looking for inspiration on Instagram, and next thing you know, you're 45 minutes in and you've done nothing but watch videos on somebody cleaning their kitchen or smoothie recipes or whatever. And you end up missing the whole point of why you got on that, why you got on social media anyways. But I am the first to say that I am terrible about managing my time. I try really hard, especially when I am overwhelmed, that I try really hard to make sure I'm focusing on the things that are going to make me money first. So when I have like a whole list of stuff to do, I look at it and I say to myself, what's going to make me money now? Whatever's going to make me money now, that's what I want to do. All the other piddly things, the social media posts, the reel, whatever, those things can all wait. What's going to make you money? Things like writing up a contract, sending over an addendum, following up with your leads, prospecting. All of these things are going to be things that are going to bring you money right now or in the near future. Sorry, my cat is meowing now in the background. I don't know if you can hear him, but those are the things that are going to bring you the most amount of money right now. So those are the things, that's how I kind of try to manage my time. But when you are managing your time, you're truly unlocking your full potential. You're able to improve your focus and reduce stress because you don't have this constant list of all the things in your head that you need to do. When you have it written down or you have it time blocked, you know, from this time to this time, this is what I'm working on. From this time to this time, this is family time. This is no phone time. This is dinner time. This is whatever it might be. That's going to help you improve your focus and be able to have a better life, work-life balance. And with that, you're going to be able to achieve your goals faster. So I don't know if you guys have read the 12-week year. I finished that semi-recently, and it was such a good book. It's exactly as it sounds. You take your year and you start breaking up your year into 12-week sections. So if you think about your goals, like let's say, you know, it's the end of the year and you're coming up with your goals for 2025 and you're like, by the end of the year, I'm going to master YouTube. Well, January comes along. Oh, I'm busy. I got returns to make from Christmas. I'm trying to catch up from the holidays. You know, then I'll do that in February. And then February rolls around and, well, we have the holiday, you know, we have Valentine's Day and, you know, spring market's coming and we're already started to get busy. And the next thing you know, you're like, well, I'll just start that in March. Well, now you're 3 months into the year and you've done nothing for that goal of mastering YouTube, right? But if you break your goals down into 12 weeks, now you only have 12 weeks to do this one thing. So aren't you going to make your goals a little bit more precise to be able to reach that goal. And maybe that goal is, I'm going to clean up my CRM. I want to get a newsletter started, and I'm going to have that done by the 12th week. So maybe that's doing certain things each week in order to get you to that goal. And you can break down that goal, reverse engineer it, figure out what you need to do to get to that point. But using your time blocking alongside with maybe doing a 12-week year is going to open you up to a lot of possibilities and how you can really be more productive with your time. Has anybody read that book, by the way?
I haven't, but I do. I mean, similar, it's quarterly, right? 12 weeks is 1 quarter,
Yeah,
isn't it?
I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
So that's how, I mean, that's what we focus a lot of things on. It's like the EOS method, right? So if you take your whole year, I know what I want to do for the year, and I'll be like, okay, so I break everything down. Like, if this is my year goal, then what do I need to get done for this quarter? And then in this quarter, how do I break that down into 3 things? And now I have a monthly goal, and then I can even break that down into weekly, right? So like starting YouTube, if you were to look at, that's the end of the year, you should have a quarterly goal of like your first quarter is setting up your YouTube account and getting your first video posted and uploaded. Like that would be a good quarter 1, right? So if you did that, then my month 1 would literally just be creating my account, creating the bio, creating, like putting a profile picture on, getting a header, like setting the account up. And it's like, okay, so week 1, all I really have to do is start the account and type in my bio. Week 2, I just have to add a profile picture. Or I can sit down for 4 hours and just do the whole thing. And now I'm done for the month. You know, it makes that huge goal really obtainable at the end.
Well, and I think, with managing your time and coming up with your goals, and also, don't be ashamed if you haven't really set your goals yet for the year. I mean, I always felt very overwhelmed by goal setting. I still feel very overwhelmed by goal setting. But I think if you have an idea of the things that you want to do over the course of this year, write them all out and break them down. Break them down into what are the most important things to get done? What are things that are going to take some prep work? So if you're doing things like pop buys or client events, any of these things, you want to make sure that you're planning those in advance. So then you're not struggling and scrambling 2 weeks before the event, or worst case scenario, 2 days before the event, you're running around trying to find everything, or you haven't ordered or even designed the flyers you're going to send out. Just try to make sure that you're prepping ahead of time. That's the only way that you're going to have that success, is if you're planning ahead. So let's talk about time blocking. When I see people who time block, I'm like, I'm in awe. I want to be that person. I want to be that person who's like, okay, from 8 to 9, I'm doing this. 9 to 10, I'm doing this. 11 to 12, I'm doing this. Unfortunately, my brain just does not handle that well, but I love the idea of it. And I do, when I have time blocked in the past and really dedicated certain times to certain tasks, you do feel so empowered and you're like, oh my gosh, I got so much done. But if you really wanted to start doing more time blocking, Google Calendar is a great one to do it in, because you can set you can color code it. You can make sure that it looks really nice. Green might be all your money making activities. Maybe that's your prospecting time. Purple might be family time. So maybe every night between 5 and 7, you don't have appointments or you don't have anything, and that is your time to cook dinner, spend time with your kids, get them bathed, all that stuff. Or maybe that's your time to just decompress. Maybe you're busy all through the day. So from 5 to 6, that's your dinner time and your decompress time. And then you can go back to starting things up back again at 7, or maybe that's your evening and you just take your evenings off. There's a lot of people who tend to do that as well. But if you are able to get all of your work done during the workday because you have batched your time schedule out and it's all exactly what you need it to be, then you have that availability in the evenings to spend time with your family or to do whatever it might be, work out, pickleball, hang out with friends, whatever it might be. But it's definitely going to help you reduce your stress levels, and it's going to help you be able to just feel like more productive in general. Does anybody on here time block?
I do.
is it like beautiful or is it like stressful to look at?
No, I do it. So normally what I do is I use my calendar just for my regular stuff. So I have purple is Brooke Personal. And then I have access to Kurt's calendar, which I'm a personal assistant for. So I keep his calendar on, and then I have my work calendar. So then I can toggle them on and off. So I always have my work calendar and my personal on. And then my time blocking, I normally do in the morning. So I create a list, which I actually like just started doing for my day. Like I create like my checklist. And then from my checklist, I categorize like what kind of sections they are. And then I'll be like, okay, that should take me about an hour and a half. So then I'll time block an hour and a half and put it on my calendar for that day. And then this section is going to take me 2 hours and I'll do that. And then I literally will give myself breaks. Like if it's nice outside, I'll give myself a break to go for a walk, or I give myself about an hour break for lunch. So I can make lunch if I want to, you know? Another thing I do with time blocking, which is really nice, is I'm the chat GPT queen. So if you talk to chat GPT and say, I have to do this today. So like, for example, I have a showing at 3 o'clock. I need to write an addendum and send that to the other agent. I need to schedule a home inspection. I need to follow up with a couple of my clients. I need to do this. The showing's going to take me an hour. This is going to take me 10 minutes. This is going to take me 45 minutes. I want to make lunch. I want to go for a walk. My walk should be 20 minutes. You can, and then say, time block my day. I want to start at 7 and be done at 4.
Oh, excuse me,
And it
sorry.
schedules the whole day out for you. That saves my life. I get so much done when I do that.
I didn't even know you could do that. This is why you're our little
I'm
AI.
I'm actually talking about that at Level Up.
I love that. This is why I
Yes.
have you.
Do you have the free version of Chat GPT or the
Yes.
paid version? Okay.
I use the paid, but what you can do too, because I'm a paper person, is if I write everything down, then next to each task, I'll write 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Like I'll put how long it is. I'll take a picture of it and say, can you create me a schedule? I want to start at this time and be done at this time. And it'll see how long everything takes. It'll tell me from this time to this time, you're doing this. From this time to this time, you're doing this. Then it takes away that's half of the stress. If you're like an ADHD brain, like I am, like genuinely, it takes me longer to plan the day than to just start the day. So doing that, just writing everything down and then taking a picture and saying like, figure it out for me. Amazing.
Well, and I think too, what was the book? Oh my gosh, what was the book? Miracle Morning. And they talk about having like setting your goals for the next day, the night before. So saying like, if I'm successful tomorrow, I only have to get these 3 things done. And I mean, obviously like in our business, there's going to be a lot of other things that come along, but maybe those 3 things are things that are going to push your business forward, right? Not necessarily writing an addendum. Oh, I'm only going to be successful if I write that addendum. Well, that's not true, but you will be, if you have a bunch of things on your list and you're like, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed, but saying to yourself, I only have to get these 3 main things done. And then working on those first thing in the morning, then you don't have to think about it the rest of the day. Just get it done. You know, I just watched this. I got stuck in a spiral scroll or a death scroll the other day on Instagram. And some lady was saying that her trunk of her car has been absolutely jammed full for 4 years. And it has been eating at her and stressing her out for 4 years. And she finally cleaned it out. And it took her 18 minutes. And it was like 18 minutes of her cleaning out the back of her car, and she feels so much better again. But that's the kind of stuff we put these things like to the side. We're like, oh, we can't do that. We can't do it. It's going to take so much time, or that's such a big thing. Like, how am I ever going to get started? You got to stop yourself and say, okay, how can I break this up into smaller, more manageable tasks that's going to make me feel better and make me, make this go along a lot easier if I'm not stressing about every little detail. So breaking it down is going to help.
I've also with that, so working in our industry, a lot of the times we work from home, right? And I feel like us being women, it's common. I'm sitting here right now and like my vacuum's out and like I know I need to vacuum. So all day, if I sit here and just work and think about how I need to vacuum, I'm distracted. So I actually, part of my time blocking is I work for a little bit and then I do a little like home tasks. And then I work for a little bit and then I do home tasks. And that balance is better for me. Like I normally can still end the day around the same time. The other day, similar situation to the trunk, I had a closet that is full of old hoodies and blankets and sweatpants and just crap. And I time blocked that into my day and just did it for like an hour. And it was that huge project that I thought was going to take forever. It was finished in an hour at noon. And then I just went back to work. But it was a big thing to cross off a list that I felt accomplished for. So I like to go up and down with like home things and work things because that's just easier for my brain to stay focused.
Yeah, I am one of those people who I'm really like, I will work all day, all night. I will take breaks here and there to go do stuff, but like, you know, I think the best thing about being home is that you can do that. You know, you can run downstairs and throw a load of laundry in, and you have time to do that. But I'm also the type that I like what I'm doing so much. I love this job. And I will work from 8:30 in the morning until 11:30 at night on stuff. You know, during the day, you have a plan. And this is why I feel like time blocking is so difficult for me. Like if I said, okay, I have time from 11 to 12, I'm going to do this. And then all of a sudden you get the people who, call you, unexpected phone call, a new lead, something comes up. And now all of a sudden you're not able to do that thing that you just planned from 8 to 9 or whatever time I just said. But I think that is one of the hardest parts of this. So Brooke, that's my question for you. Like, what do you do if you are truly time blocking and really saying, okay, from this time to this time, I'm not doing anything but this task? What happens when stuff pops up?
You can't do it.
So what do you do?
I'll get back to you at 2:30. I'm in a meeting.
Okay. Well, that's one
the
thing.
hardest part though.
Right.
Because I'm like that, like, so for those of you who don't know me, I have multiple clients that I work for. So if I'm working with somebody, so like, for example, though, like right now, if one of my clients called me, I can't answer until 1 o'clock. I'm busy. I'm on a call, right?
Yeah.
I can't just get up and go take a call right now.
Right.
So that's what I would respond. Hey, I'll get back to you at 1 o'clock. So if I'm time blocking and I need to get these things done for somebody and somebody else reaches out and is like, I need help with this. Okay. Unless that is like an absolute urgent 911 needs to happen right this second, it can wait an hour. Just like your client, like can wait an hour. If you're in a meeting, you don't have to say you're just working on something. And you can give yourself in your time blocks those 20-minute breaks to just catch up on like texts, phone calls, and then you just say, hey, I'll get back to you which is when your next scheduled break is.
Right. Well, I went ahead, but I came back. We'll talk about that in a minute. So what you were just saying, we're gonna put a pin in that for 1 second because I want to talk more about that in the next slide. Now, this is the 80-20 rule. So you focus on 20% of the tasks that bring 80% of the results. So that was what I was saying, like the money-making activities, those are the things we want to focus on first. Get those things done. Identify your top 3 priorities, right? We just talked about that with like Miracle Morning, which love that idea, but I am not a morning person. I am not getting my butt up super early. However, I can see the value in that because like, let's say, like for me, I want to go to the gym in the morning. By the time I drop my kid off at school and I get to the gym, it's like 8:30. To be honest, 8:30 to 9:30 is pretty okay. Like I might get some phone calls, I might get some texts, but there's nothing really blowing up at 8:30 in the morning. So it's pretty okay. But if I could go to the gym between 6 and 7, guaranteed nobody's going to be calling me at that time. So you could really focus on what you need. So there's a lot of people who start their day super early to get those things in their schedule that they have trouble getting in later. Like there's no way in the world that I would be able to schedule and like go to the gym between like 11 and 1. Like there's just no way. There's too much going on. There's too many appointments, there's calls, there's whatever. I would be like, unless I put my phone on do not disturb, there's no way. I would be so distracted the whole time. So I try to go first thing in the morning. And there will still be texts and stuff that come through, but I try really hard to just not focus on those while I'm there. But anyway, back to this, identifying your top 3 priorities for the day, tackle them first. Make sure you're scheduling in those times that you need for your stuff, for your mental health, for your own well-being. Brooke does her walks. I go to the gym, whatever it might be. Maybe that's meditation in the morning. Maybe that's, I just want to drink my coffee and, scroll in the morning for 25 minutes while I, wake up and whatever, maybe you want to read a book or watch the news or whatever it is that you want to do. Just make sure that you are scheduling that time for yourself. So make sure that you are regularly reviewing your tasks to make sure what you're doing is yielding the most results. And anything that you're finding that you're doing well and it's really working for you, double down. Now, this Pomodoro technique is one of my favorite techniques. I learned about this in a coaching program that I was in. I had never heard about it before, but it is one of my favorite things to do. And I tell you what, if you do something like this, it's like, I get very overwhelmed when I have a lot of tasks to do. And I just kind of, it's like,
what's that called? The paralysis. It's a thing.
I know, analysis paralysis.
I have it too. Yes.
So all of a sudden I'm just like, I don't even know where to start. I don't even know where to begin. And so I get really stressed out. So this Pomodoro technique, you can do it on your phone. There's apps. You could just use the timer on your phone if you want to. What I do is I will say, okay, I got to get this done. Maybe it's like, I need to write out a script for a video that I'm going to do. And or maybe it's something like really important that I really got to focus on, or maybe it's addressing envelopes for mailers, whatever it might be. You say, okay, and 25 minutes doesn't necessarily have to be the number, but the Pomodoro technique idea is that you work for 25 minutes, you take a 5-minute break, then you go back and do another 25 minutes and you take a 5-minute break. I have found even if you do 10 or 15 minutes, I will literally turn my ringer off, put my phone face down. So I'll set my timer, set my phone face down, and then I work. And because you're not focusing on your phone blinking, somebody calling you, somebody texting you, you are focusing solely on the project you're doing. Now, what happens when you're like, oh, shoot, I forgot to text that lady. Oh my God, I meant to do this. You don't stop what you're doing and jump to that other task. You make a note, call Sarah, text whoever, text the other agent, whatever it is, you make your little note right back to your same process or right next to your same project that you're doing. And then when you're done, you got that 5-minute break, check your phone, send that text to Sarah, check in with that other agent. Those are the things that you do at that point. You don't break concentration on the project at hand until that 5-minute break. But that giving yourself that permission, at least for me, giving yourself that permission to work on something specifically, take the notes on the things that pop up, that giving myself the permission to write down that note and not jump to it immediately is a lifesaver, because I am the type of person who is doing 6 things at once and I'm doing them all bad. Everything I'm doing, like I'm not focusing on any one thing. I can't tell you how many times I have an email going, I have a social media post, a reel that's in process, an addendum that's in process, and a half-written text. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? Stop for a minute, finish this damn email, then we'll do the text, then we'll do this. So if you could just take that 25 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever it is, like Brooke was saying, she's got her list. Oh, this is only going to take me 15 minutes. Okay, set your timer 15 minutes, do the task.
Yeah.
Be done.
That's a good one. Like literally be like, okay, I can knock this off in this many minutes. Like, okay, let's just do it. Or like, can I do these 3 things within an hour? Like time block a working hour and be like, okay, I'm gonna get those 3 things done. Feels so good.
That's your timer. So you set your timer, 25 minutes or whatever. You're going to do 4 things in an hour. You got 15 or 15 minutes each one. Put your phone down, 15-minute timer goes off. You start working on that one project. Now, if you're not done with it in 15 minutes, you move on to the next task. Now, if you have only like 2 or 3 sentences to go or whatever it is, finish it off. But make sure that you're still allowing each one of those tasks to get done. And then after those 4 rounds, give yourself a little bit more of a break. If you do an hour straight, give yourself a little bit of a break. Let your brain calm down, check your text messages, check your emails, whatever it might be. But I'm telling you what, like you can do a kitchen counter timer. They actually have Pomodoro technique timers. Do I think that it's necessary? No. But what's nice about it is because I'm so like OCD about things, I used to check my phone. Okay, how many more minutes do I have? How many more minutes do I have? With the Pomodoro, the little things, the little timers, it stays green. And then as you're getting close to the end, it will turn yellow and then it'll go off and it turns red. So then you still got time. You don't need to be checking the time. You don't need to be worrying about it. When you get to that yellow, I can't remember when the yellow comes on, but it's like a minute or 2 till the end. And then you have your timer go off. So you don't feel the need to see how many more minutes you have. You still have minutes left based on the timer. Has anybody ever used this technique or heard of it?
I've used it.
But I've never used it though. So that was great that you explained it the way you did.
I've told my kids to use it.
So this is actually like, if you think about this in a lot of different ways, for like people who like cleaning is really hard for them, or the people who have a lot of like clutter, or they're even hoarders, this is great for kids too. Okay, this bedroom is a disaster. 15-minute timer, see what you can get done. And then they're kind of racing against the clock. But I've heard people use the same technique on people who get overwhelmed in their house because maybe their kitchen is a disaster. It's spring break right now. Kids are home. The houses are a disaster. But if you could say, okay, I'm going to give myself 10 minutes to clean up my kitchen. You'd be amazed what you get done in those 10 minutes. If you're focusing on that, you turn on the timer, set your phone down, crank the music, and do what you need to do. But it is something that like, I think is really great for kids. I think it's great for just in general, for those people who especially say, I don't have time for all that. Well, okay, well, giving myself like, it's like when a friend's coming over or somebody's going to be stopping by your house and you clean up everything really quick, you throw everything in a corner. Like, at least this gives you a time to set a reasonable amount of time that's not overwhelming. You're not thinking, oh my God, I got to clean the whole house. Like, let's just do one room. Let's just do, one, like just the kitchen. Or let's just do the one thing, right?
I have started something, my mom does this and I started doing it too, but my mom does 20 minutes every morning before she leaves the house. She's like, because then you're less likely to come home to dishes in your sink. You're less likely to come home to a messy bathroom. Like, I get ready for the day and then 20 minutes of just pickup. So now I don't leave stuff all over my bathroom sink. My bed's made and I have no dishes in the sink. So every day when I come home, at least I know I have those things done. And then if I have extra time in my 20 minutes, I keep going. But I get up earlier now to do my 20 minutes and it makes a huge difference.
Well, I think it's helpful too. Like I do that, like going on vacation and stuff. Like I want my house clean before I go on vacation. The last thing I want to do is come home to a dirty house or a messy house or, whatever it might be. But I think like just taking that little bit or maybe 10 minutes before bed, especially if you have little kids, which I don't know about some of us on this call, but none of us have real little kids, but that would be my thing before bed. All right, 15 minutes before bed, cleanup time. Set the timer, 15 minutes. We got to clean up your bedroom. We got to clean up the playroom, whatever it is. Then we're going to get our teeth brushed, pajamas on, in bed. So I think that, this technique can be used in so many different ways, but it is a great way to set that focus so you can actually get the things done that you need to get done. And you can stop putting things off because they seem like such big tasks that you can break it down into smaller, much smaller bite-sized chunks.
Right.
All right. So delegating and automation. So I have a hard time delegating. Brooke might not realize that, but I have a hard time delegating. I'm doing a lot better. I'm giving Brooke a lot of work to do, but for a long time, I had a really hard time delegating things. I'm getting better, still not great at it, but I'm getting better at it. But when you can delegate tasks to other people, maybe it's even teammates or a partner or something, delegating tasks to other people are going to help you so much, because I think too, as like women, we're typically the people who kind of keep the household running. And I just watched a video not that long ago too about it was a husband who took over the grocery list, and he took over getting groceries for 6 months. And he was like, it was so hard, because it's not just like a grocery list. It's keeping like a running inventory in your head of how much toilet paper do we have? How much toothpaste do we have? How much shampoo do we have? Do we need dog food? Do we need cat litter? You know, it's like constantly thinking about all of these things, and it's a mental load. So if you're able to delegate something like that, or work tasks or whatever, maybe it is you hire a VA or you hire an assistant, or you team up with another agent who can help you with some showing so you can have more family time, or whatever it might be. There's a lot of different ways that you can delegate and automate things. So automation, you can do things like Calendly is a great way to set up appointments. Trello will help you keep yourself organized. Zapier is another automation tool. That's usually to connect two different things, but there's a lot of different things that you can do to automate your business and not everything is going to be completely automated. You're going to have to get in there and do things. Like, we don't want to lose that personal touch, but there are things that you can do, like maybe an automatic email that's going to go out at a certain point in the transaction that you can schedule out, or maybe there's some sort of thing that you do constantly that is, you know, what we call the SOP, you know, your standard operating procedure for repetitive tasks. Maybe you start doing, you make email templates. Do you guys know how to do Google email templates? Because I'll tell you what is the best thing in the whole world that
I'd be lost without that.
It is, if you don't know how to do it, I will show you guys one day, but you know, I can show you now if you wanted me to, but you just draft an email in Gmail. I don't know about other systems. In Gmail, before you send it, there's like a little button at the bottom that you can click and it'll come up as templates. So this is an email you send all the time. Like, it's one that you send, you know, congrats, you're under contract. This is when you're going to get all the next information. Here's this. You can make that all into an email that you send out on a regular basis. All you have to do is change the name, change the dates, whatever it might be, but you can have your little template in your email all the time. And I'm telling you what,
We'll talk about high note too.
oh yeah, I will. So you can have that all ready to go. You never have to think about it. When my friend showed me that, I was like, are you kidding me? I've been drafting these emails up, saving the email in my note section, going back, copy, pasting. Oh my God. So when I found out that you could just have a template, I was like, this is the best thing in the whole world. The other thing that I use, which I didn't put in here, is high note. So we've talked about high note many times on this podcast, whatever this is, mastermind, in the past, but high note is a system. So I used to have a mile-long email for you're under contract, now what? But I'm telling you what, when you can scroll 3 or 4 times, people get lost. You can only highlight and bold things so much before people just ignore it, or they just scroll through and they don't read all of what you're writing. And let's be honest, that email is a very important email. It talks about all the next steps, it talks about what they're doing next. I don't know if you guys do the same thing I do, but I send everything. Here's where we're going to go. These are your next steps, because most people have no idea what the next step is. So I started using high note. And it is a beautiful system. My favorite thing about it is I can duplicate past high notes that I've made. So it's a presentation that shows, it's got a graphic on the side, which can either be a website, it can be a graphic that you put up there. It can be, if you just upload like a purchase agreement, it'll just show a picture of the purchase agreement, but it will be whatever you want. I make it pretty. I have everything. I made little graphics in Canva that say like all your documents, inspection, appraisal, you know, like it just shows them, it breaks everything down again in those bite-sized chunks. So now if somebody wants to know about the inspection, they just go to the inspection button. There's a little comment box next to it with all the information about inspection. Then the next part is, okay, after inspection, we're going to order appraisal through the lender. This is what the appraisal is. And it talks about the appraisal. It talks about if they gave an appraisal guarantee, what that means. Again, it's just repetitive because one, CYA, right? We got to cover ourselves. I want to make sure everything is in writing. Everything is in their inbox. So they know if they ever come back on me and say, well, you didn't tell me to have this inspection. Yes, I did. It's here. There's always something to cover my butt. But what's best about it is that it's easy and it's duplicatable. I don't have to recreate this thing every single time. There's no reason for that. There are way too many systems out there now that you do not have to duplicate things over and over again yourself. You should be able to easily be able to replicate something like that. So if you're having,
what is it called again?
high note, I will
Okay.
send, I'll put, here, I actually have a code for it. Brooke, I'm going to text you, Brooke, with the code so you can post it in the chat.
Okay.
I should have
Thank
put it in here. Yeah, no problem. Actually, I might be able to just copy and paste it right into the chat. Let's see if it'll work. Yep. So it is really super cool. So, and I can even, after we're done with this, I can show you guys how to do the templates in your email, and I can show you what a high note looks like. What's awesome is that like Brooke can easily do one for me. If I say, hey, I just got this house under contract, I give her the specifics, I send her the purchase agreement. She can take all the information from the purchase agreement. She goes in, duplicates it, changes the name, changes the dates. If there's a different inspector for that area, or maybe it's a well and septic versus a city sewer inspection, I'll tell her, hey, put this inspector in there and this one, take those two out, because I want, I give my options for each person. So I put everything in one spot. But what's great about it is, and this wasn't even supposed to be a pitch for high note, but it shows analytics. So I get an email. So if Jackie goes in and checks her high note, I get an email that says, hey, Jackie was checking this email. She was reading this section for 4 minutes. Or she was, she opened these documents and she spent 3 minutes on that. So I can see. So then if I see somebody, this was a great example. A couple months after I closed on a condo, I noticed that the guy went into my high note. And I was like, I wonder what he's looking for. So I texted him and I was like, hey, I just got a notification you were looking in your high note. Is there something I can help you with? And he was like, yeah, actually, I'm looking for the seller's disclosures. I'm like, oh, you could find them right here. Is there something I could help you with? He's like, well, actually, we're getting water in our basement and it's a whole thing. We've been dealing with the HOA. We're trying to find out if this was disclosed. It was a whole mess, but everything was all in one place. So he just didn't know where to find it. So once I messaged him, told him exactly where it was, gave him that information, he was able to find the documents and go from there. But it's great that you can actually go in and you can see who's opening what, who's looking at things, how long they're spending on each item. It's a great way. And you can do this for like sending offers over, for recruiting agents, for my friend Kelly used it for her wedding. Like for like the wedding, it was a destination wedding. Like, here's where the wedding is. This is what time. This is where we're going to dinner. So like you can use this for a lot of different ways. Okay. So let's talk about energy management, because we all know that we work a lot. We survive on coffee and, bananas and nuts in the car and, fast food, but that's always not the best thing to do. So let's talk about how we can work smarter, not harder. So align your task with your energy levels. So you know that you have certain times a day when you have more energy than others. I've talked about this with like creating content. There are times where I'm feeling very creative and I'm feeling very motivated to create content. And then I have other days where I'm like, that is the last thing that I want to do. I don't want to show my face on camera. I don't want to talk. I don't want to do any of it. So like, for instance, after a Modern Agent Blueprint, my energy levels are low because I'm giving so much. I'm talking a lot. So when I get done, a lot of times I end and I just sit back and I'm like, okay, bring it down a little bit. And then, for the next little bit, I'm a little tired. I'm a little like, okay, let's get some water. Let's move around, so you have to really pay attention to your energy levels. Maybe in the morning, you're a morning person. You get up, you get your coffee, you're feeling good. Like maybe this is the time that we might not want to sit down and start doing emails. Maybe that's a good time to go work out. Maybe you can do some things around the house. Maybe you can make your phone calls while you're doing the laundry or whatever. Maybe that's the way that you should schedule your day. If you're feeling high and energy is high and your vibration's good, sitting down and doing emails or dealing with things that are difficult are probably not the best thing to do right then. Maybe you save that for a little later in the morning when, getting close to lunchtime. Now is the time where you can sit down, you can have your lunch while you work on your emails. So just think about how your energy fluctuates throughout the day. We're all a little bit different. Maybe you're super high energy in the evening. Like I'm a night owl. I would rather do things in the evening than first thing in the morning. Like that is just who I am. Use your intentional breaks to recharge. So like Brooke in the middle of the day goes for a walk. That's part of her day. That's part of her schedule. She gets up, she does her walk. It just brings her more energy. It gives her a little mental break, gives her a little physical energy. She feels better when she comes back, and it's going to help make sure she's feeling better later. Why does that say lowering productivity? Oh, continuous work drains your mental and physical health. I misread. I was like, why would that lower your energy or lower productivity? Making sure you are staying hydrated and fueling yourself with foods and stuff that are going to make you feel good. Making sure you're drinking water. I had a friend who every day, I hear her every single morning before I make my coffee, water first. Every day. We're dehydrated from sleeping all night. Water first. Drink a glass of water. I try to drink like a whole thing of water like this size before I even drink my coffee. I'm not always good about it, but when I don't do that, I feel it. Like I didn't this morning and I'm feeling it. I need water right now. So just know that you are going to feel a little bit more dehydrated. You're going to feel a little more fatigued. You might even have that brain fog, which at the end of the day is going to affect your performance. And if you're feeling sluggish because maybe you're eating crappy food or you're just not taking the best care of yourself, you're going to feel it all over. And it's going to show in your work and in your overall person. Like you're just going to feel not great. So syncing tasks with your energy level, taking your breaks and feeling your body is going to help maintain high performance. All right, the 2-minute rule. So conquer those small tasks instantly. If it takes less than 2 minutes, just do it. However, don't let that interrupt the other things that you're doing. If it's 2 minutes, do your little Pomodoro technique. In that, like after that little 5-minute break, do that 2-minute task. Then you can go back into your other stuff. Just make sure you're not doing too many 2-minute tasks back to back to back, because then maybe you should be scheduling that out to get those little tasks done. So maybe if you have a whole bunch of these little things, put them, time block the little things that you need to get done. Or throughout the day, if it's only going to take you a couple of minutes, just get it done. But this is also, I mean, I'm being very honest here. This is where I get stuck in that. I got an email going. I got, a reel started. I got a text going. I got this, and I'm trying to do all of it. Guaranteed, one of those things I'm going to forget about. And I can't, so many times I've been halfway through a text and I get an email and I'm like, oh shoot, I got to respond to this right now. And I start that and I'm like, oh my God, that text, let me go back. Let me finish the text. And then I forget about the email that I started, and now it's been sitting in my drafts and I completely forgot about it. So, just make sure that you are making an effort to complete the task before you move on to the other one. None of us, as much as we want to say we're so great at multitasking, most of us aren't. And I always think I'm a great multitasker, but I am not. I always forget things halfway through. Okay. This is a great thing. Oh, email message cleanup. If you want to go through your emails, delete all the crap that you don't need, all the advertisements, all that stuff. A lot of times too, I get stuck, like, I don't know about you guys, but I'll be in these like email chains from like title companies, and it's like title company and title company are talking to each other, and there's like 15 emails. I go to the last one the very last one. And if it's all looks like, thank you, got everything I need, I just delete. I don't even read them. I don't even open them because chances are it was just them going back and forth. Now there's been some where I'm like, there's a lot of stuff going on and I just call the title company. I'm like, am I good? Do you need anything from me? Because there's a lot of emails and I'm not trying to read all this. And they're like, yep, you're good. We're all set. We were just trying to figure something out. We're good. And part of me is like, I don't want to be a part of that chain, but the other part of me, I need to be part of that chain. But sometimes I just read that last email, make sure everything's good to go, and I move on with my life because not everything requires a response. You don't have to even respond to half of those things. Okay, so weekly planning. So Sundays are kind of like the reset days, right? So you're looking at your schedule. I try to look at my schedule just so I can have a general idea of what my schedule looks like, what meetings I already have on the books, what appointments I have, what Zoom calls I have, what commitments I've made. Maybe, this year I made it a point to do a massage every 2 weeks. So I have a massage every week, every other week. That is me time. That is in my calendar. That is me time. Nothing gets booked over top of that. I rarely have to move that appointment. So we also have to think about some of our appointments like that, like coming to these modern agent blueprints. Like this, in my opinion, stuff like this, education, stuff like this is an appointment. Like you should be coming to things like this or going to other classes or going to other events in person and making those a priority. We can move our clients around us. Like there is no reason why my client has to see a house at noon on Tuesday. Guaranteed they could probably see the house at 1 or at 2 or at 10. So keep in mind that making sure that you are scheduling stuff to make yourself better and your business better a priority, because that is a huge thing in this business. Things change so much that if we're not prioritizing our business and we're just busy with the other busy work that we have, we're never going to continue to grow. If we're just focusing on these like minute little tasks all day, we have to have the room to grow and build. And so making that a point to say, hey, I have this class that I'm doing every Tuesday from noon to 1. That's in my schedule. That's not changing. Making sure that you're doing stuff like that. Or if like, maybe you want to go like for my brokerage, we have classes in our little virtual world that are taught by leading agents all around the country. Maybe some of those classes are non-negotiables. Those are going in the schedule. You're going to go to this one class every single week from this time to this time. It's a great way to learn and build. So make sure you are scheduling out your week, knowing where you have some open time. And this is when you can time block. So maybe you have open time every week from 8 to 9. Maybe that is your gym time, or maybe that's your meditation time, or your house cleaning time, or whatever it might be. But then it also opens up your schedule to know, okay, hey, if this person goes under contract, I need to make sure that I have inspection time available Thursday or Friday, so I can make sure to get that in. But just make sure that you're reviewing and adjusting as you need to make sure you're staying on track. So you can use your calendar. There's all different kinds of digital planners to use. I'm a calendar girl. I would love to be a paper calendar girl, but I just can't do it. I buy one every year. I actually stopped finally because I'm like, this is just a waste. I'm great about it for a couple of weeks and then it falls apart. So whatever you need, paper, or maybe even a daily checklist. Like these are the things like Brooke has. These are the things I have to get done today. Write out my notes. This is what I need to do in the next week, the next month, write it out. And then I don't know about you guys, but checking off things on a list makes me feel so good to be able to get those things done. So making Sunday your plan ahead, set your clear goals, prioritize things that matter, review and adjust as needed to help you stay on track. Now you can do accountability. This is whatever I talk to my agents, or I've talked to all kinds of people in coaching programs and all kinds of stuff. Every single person says they want accountability, but here's the kicker. Nobody can make you accountable. Nobody. You have to be accountable for what you want. I can't tell Brooke, hey, you have to do this thing. Make sure you do it. Did you do it? Did you do it? like that's just going to annoy her if I'm bugging her about it all the time. And if she didn't do it, she's going to feel some shame. She's going to feel regretful. She's going to feel guilty because she didn't get it done. So while I think accountability is a great thing to have, and I think that it's a great thing to do, you also have to make sure that you're accountable for your own life, your own business, for your goals. I can't make sure Brooke reaches all her goals for the year, but I can help her if she's struggling with something, or maybe she shares her goals. So then I check back like, hey, did you do that thing? Each week, I still have my team give me goals for the week, but it's more of a checklist. What do you want to get done this week? Okay, I want to do 2 reels. I want to post on my stories every day. I want to make 1,000 calls. I want to do this or that. Like that's, you know, they might have, and they have different things. Like maybe when somebody wants to go meet with a business to do a video at their place, whatever it might be, we just write out what their goals are for the week, the things that they want to get done. And they come back the next week and say, yes, I got that done. No, I didn't. Here's why I didn't get it done, but I'm going to work on that this week. So I think it's great to have accountability, but you also have to make sure that you are being accountable for yourself. You have to be making those goals up and keeping track of that stuff for yourself. But it is helpful, I think, to get the feedback, to get support and motivation from other people. I think it's a great way to do that. I think having an accountability buddy is a great idea, where you just feel like you have somebody to talk to. It's like having a friend that goes to the gym with you, or having that friend who, you know, is going to be supportive of you and they're going to help motivate you to the next level. And, you know, part of this too is getting in the room with other people who are doing better than you. You never want to be the smartest person in the room. You never want to be the person who knows it all, because we don't. So making sure you're surrounding yourself with other people who are going to help motivate you to do your best job that you can do is super important. Brooke, do you have anything about the accountability stuff? Or anything that I've so far?
I think like in general, having like an accountability partner is good. Like for those of you who know Marissa, I work with Marissa, and I'll have her be like, okay, what do I need to get done today? Like, tell me what I have to get done today. And then like I have to check in with her at the end of the day. I'm like, okay, I got everything done. She's like, good. But like I know in my head that like she told me what I needed to get done for the day, you know, because if I don't tell anybody, then it's a lot easier to make up an excuse to push things off. So for me, I like to have some sort of accountability, or else I will push things off and then I get overwhelmed. So I think accountability is important, but I think one accountability buddy where you both hold each other accountable is a little less stressful. And it's like, okay, because I slip up sometimes, she slips up sometimes, but it's like, okay, hey, you slipped up a couple times this week. Like, what's going on? Like, you okay? Like, let's get back on track. So I do think having an accountability buddy is amazing.
I do think so too. I mean, I think it's just important to know that, you know, and for most of us, we don't have a boss. We are our boss.
Right.
So and I hear this from people all the time, that they're like, usually the male gender, it's usually like, oh, you work too hard. Oh, you're doing too much. Oh, this, you're that. And I'm like, I'm doing this because I'm motivated and I want to do this, you know, and I shouldn't say it's only males, because there's other women who I've known too, who are like, man, this hustle mentality, it's too much. And I'm like, it's not even a hustle mentality. I'm motivated. Like I want to do better. Like that's why I got into real estate, because I never understood this 9-to-5 mindset of, I go to work, I clock in, I work through the day, I clock out, and that's my life. That's it. I'm happy. Like, everything feels good. If that works for people, that's great, but it was never a thing that worked for me. But I think if you are finding people who motivate you, or finding friends that light you up and they're like, yeah, girl, do this. Like I was just texting Jamie from Her Brand Photography yesterday. I was like, girl, these reels that you are posting are amazing. Like whatever you're doing, keep doing it. I love it. And she's like, oh my God, you have no idea what that means to me. Like you just motivated the crap out of me because I was not sure about it. And I'm like, no, they're so good. I have such FOMO of these photo shoots. Like you got to keep it going. She's like, that's exactly what I needed to hear. Thank you so much. But you know, you have that hype team behind you of the people who are like, girl, you're doing good. I love that post. I love what you're doing. Like having that type of person in your corner to help keep you on track and keep motivating you to do better and keep going. Because we all have those times where we're like, you know what, maybe I should just throw in the towel. this isn't for me, you have a deal fall apart or you lose an agent or whatever it might be. And you're just like, you know what? Maybe this life isn't for me. Maybe I need to go back to whatever it might be. And you just have to have that person in your ear letting you know, like, hey, you got this. What do we need to do? What do we need to do to get you back on track? How can I help? So make sure you find those motivational partners and those friends who really keep you going and bring you joy, because at the end of the day, this is the job we chose, right? We chose this career. So you got to love it, because it's too much stress. Otherwise, you got to really love it. All right. So by taking control of your time, you can definitely thrive, right? So by implementing the productivity hacks, you'll be able to boost your efficiency, reduce your stress, and really help to achieve those goals a lot faster. So staying consistent with your weekly planning, leverage accountability groups or partners to stay motivated, and refining your systems for continuous improvement. They're all going to help you to grow, build. You're going to be taking action right away. You're going to be focusing on getting certain tasks done that may seem daunting. And then you'll end up dominating your schedule and truthfully dominating your business. Does anybody have any questions or anything that they want to say about any of this, or anything that you've done that's really worked to motivate you or to help keep you on track? Anything we didn't mention, or anything, if we did mention it, if you want to just talk about any of that.
Or what are we going to try? Because I think I'm about to set a 25-minute timer.
Yeah, the time blocking is crucial. I am a time waster, just trying to think about, I'll have my schedule out for the week of some, some important points, some important things that I have to get done. But then I waste a lot of time trying to figure out what do I do first, or putting things in front of what's the priority, trying to figure out a better way to do something instead of just doing it. Like, just do it, Delise. Just do it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think
And
that's the hardest part, getting
yeah,
started.
it is. It is. And then some weeks are really great and I feel awesome. And then other weeks, I feel like I just wasted a whole week. Like I didn't get anything accomplished that was on my to-do list. I keep carrying over, like my goals for February got carried over to March, and at least one of those is get carried over to April. So
So this is a great way for you. Now, I don't know if you've done this or not, but I talked about this when I hired Brooke and Marissa. One of the first things I did with them was a brain dump. We wrote out, I actually just talked. And so here's the best thing. You could talk to ChatGPT and then they can prioritize things for you or help you put it all together. But I brain dumped everything. Here's all of the things that I want to do. Here's all the things that I need done in my business. Here's all the things that I want to do. Here's all the things that I want to do for my clients. Here's all the things that my plans, my goals, all my stuff. I put it all out there. And then Brooke took the notes, put it into ChatGPT, organized it all. And I was like, oh my God, like this is the best thing I have ever seen in my life. Everything was laid out. It was, I want newsletters to my past clients. I want newsletters to go out to all of my people in KV Core. I want Modern Agent Blueprint newsletters. I want, all of these different things. There was so much that there's no way I was ever going to be able to accomplish all that on my own. And I wasn't going to be able to do it all in one day or month. So if you can think about putting all of your stuff down on paper or in ChatGPT or whatever, saying, here's all the things that I want to do. Can you organize this? And maybe they organize it. You say, can you organize this by categories? Like, here are the categories I want to, whatever it might be. But that might be a great way to just get all your ideas out. And I think implementing like a 12-week year might be helpful to you.
Yeah, you're right.
If you break it down, because really, truthfully, how many of us, I'm speaking for me, but I will say, okay, I want to do a client event in September. And I did this last year. This is why I screwed up and I didn't do a client event last year, because I put it in my calendar. I had a photographer scheduled. I had things planned, but I forgot to invite all my clients because I never put anything in my calendar to touch base with them to do the invites. So all of a sudden I get an email or I get a notification in my calendar. It says, remind clients about client event. And I was like, oh my God, I never even sent out invites. Oh my God, I cannot believe I did this. So then I'm stuck with trying to figure out what I'm going to do. And I ended up just canceling the whole thing because there's no way that I was going to get invites out and everything ready to go within a week. So if I put in my calendar, create event, create event invitation for client event, I put that out a month ahead or a month and a half ahead. So then I can send it out a month before. Then like my touches, okay, make sure you send an email out, you send text out, you do this, you do that. Putting all that out in your calendar, it's going to make sure that you're doing all the little things. So maybe it's, you want to start farming to a certain neighborhood, right? Like a lot of people want to get into farming. Okay, well, first step, let's pick a neighborhood. Let's pick a price point. Let's pick, are we doing my neighborhood that I live in? Or I'm going to do the neighborhood that I want to start selling in. Okay, now, so my first week is figuring that out, or maybe a day figuring that out. Then it's going into Remine or whatever system you use to pull addresses. Then it's figuring out what type of mailer are you going to do? How often are you going to do those mailers? How, like, what kind of stuff are you going to send out? Are you sending out market reports? Are you sending out different value drops? What are you doing? Figuring out all that, but you now are scrunched into 12 weeks to get it all done. You don't get to say, oh shoot, well, I didn't get that stuff done in February. Now it's going to get put to March and it's probably going to get pushed to February. So now you have to set, you got your goals more condensed, because how many times you get to October and you're like, well, crap, it's already October. I guess we'll just make this a goal for next year. So making sure that you're breaking down your goals and doing this 12-week year, think about it in the minds of like fitness or eating better or anything like that. If I say, I'm going to lose 30 pounds this next year, well, realistically, what does that look like? 12 months is a long freaking time. But if I say for the next 12 weeks, I'm going to eat a salad a day, at least one meal a day is going to be a salad. I'm going to work out 3 times a week for these 12 weeks for 1 hour each time. Now it's a little bit more digestible. It's not saying for the next 365 days, I'm going to do this, but maybe it's, I found a 12-week workout plan that gives me everything I need, or ChatGPT made me a 12-week workout plan based on my goals. Now I have 12 weeks to do all this stuff, and then I'll reassess and do another 12 weeks. Then I'll do another 12 weeks. And then next thing you know, you've developed this habit and you're doing better at it. And it's the same thing for your business that you can do for fitness, for eating better, for anything. Relationships. Maybe you say you want to do, your marriage is suffering because you're struggling in your business. So you want to find more time to spend with your partner. So maybe it's for the next 12 weeks, every Friday night, we're going to go on a date night. And 2 of those weekends, we're going to go away on a small like weekend trip, so you can focus in on these 12 weeks and creating these goals for the whole 12 weeks each time. Bye, Jackie. Thank you. Oh, we're over time too. Shoot, I didn't even realize. But if you guys have any ideas or anything, put them in our group too, because I think it's a great way to help motivate each other, share some of the wins that we have and all of that. I think it's a great way to just help each other out.
100%.
All right. Well, let's wrap things up. You're so welcome. Thanks for coming today. We'll wrap this up. This whole thing will be available on YouTube later today or tomorrow, if anybody wants to rewatch it. And then we'll be back next week with another Modern Agent Blueprint, and we hope to see you guys there. Everyone have an awesome day.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks.